Hello, hello. How are you today? Happy 2023. Oh my goodness, huh? Like, how is this going on? How is this happening? Um, Life seems to be flying by. Hopefully, it's flying by in a really good way for you. And it seems to be flying by for me. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. So, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If we haven't met before, I'm Kelly Howard. I am known as the fitness consistency expert with a touch of adventure. And that touch of adventure is probably the piece that I like the most because that's like being able to get out there and do things and do all the things that I love doing, and helping other women be able to do that too. And the fitness consistency part is the piece that makes everything possible, right? Like fitness consistency is the thing that makes it all possible. So thank you for being here today. I've got a great one for you. So today is part one of a two-part series. And this series is, it's basically about fitness consistency at its very core, right? Like the simplest part of it. And part one is how to get on track, because getting on track is the first thing you have to do. And I don't use that word have to very often, but yes, you've got to do it in order to be able to do all the things that you want to do in life. So thank you so much for being here. So, like I said, this is a two-part series. I didn't want to talk too long, so I've divided it into two pieces. So this week is about how to get back on track. And then next week will be about how to stay on track. It's like, if you think about it, like at its very, very simplest form, that is fitness consistency, right? Getting on track, like getting on track and doing all the things that are the right things to do to get what you want. And then once you're on track, learning how to stay there, because that's the big piece that happens to us is a lot of us can get started. In fact, like quite frankly, New Year's Eve or New Year's resolutions, like I don't know, there's these crazy stats out there, but tons of people start, like tons of people start. Maybe, I don't know, I'm going to make up my own stat today. So let's say that 80% of the people out there start New Year's resolutions. But if 80% start, out of that 80%, probably 95% of them quit in the first 3 weeks. And my job is to make sure that you don't quit, right? Like I want to see, um, I want to see you like getting everything you want and doing everything you want. Like that's my passion. And that's the things that I love in life so much. So let's talk about it. Right now, the first piece of getting back on track is going to be, um, probably it's going to be making room in your life for what you want. Okay. A lot of times I start with that, like, know what you want, but let's start with making some room in your life to be able to have what it is that you want. When I ask people, like, what are the top two things that hold you back? Usually it's no plan and no time. No plan, no time. Or it could be no plan, no knowledge, no time. So having those things and being able to being able to do that and have the space in your life. So let's figure out how to get the space in your life. Okay, talk about it real quick. Um, One way is that there is always things that we do that take time away from the things that we want to do. Okay. There always is. And some of those things that take time away from the things that these are the kinds, what I'm talking about are the kinds of things that we do that aren't really getting us anywhere. And it could be like social media. Sorry, social media. Social media gets such a bad rap. Like, scrolling through your feed. That's one, but that's not the only one. I mean, other ones could be, uh, okay, I'm going to give you one that you wouldn't normally think I'd say, mindless walking. Okay. Like sometimes walking can be a great exercise, right? Walking can be a super exercise. But when people just go out for a saunter, and there's no reason for it. Okay. Like a saunter can super clear your head. It can be the smartest thing you do to settle down stress. But if you just go out for a little saunter outside and you think that that's going to make a difference in anything, probably isn't. I mean, the only thing it does is if you're doing it with intention to clear your mind, it'll help there. So, what are some of the other things that hold us back? Um, this is one nobody likes: putting everyone else first. The truth is, if we don't prioritize ourselves, then there's going to be that point where everybody's going to have to take care of us because we aren't healthy enough to. Okay. Um, so often we grew up thinking that we had to care for everyone else first, right? That was our job, is caring for everyone else, and then there's a little bit of time in the end. That's our time. But we're at a point in our lives where we need to be prioritizing our health so that we can have those long, healthy lifelines where people don't have to take care of us. Okay. So maybe that time thing that you need to find is saying no occasionally and saying yes to you, saying no to taking care of someone else or doing something for someone else, taking care of you. Okay. So first thing is what's holding you back. And just one other thing about decluttering. I mean, I'm talking about what's holding you back, and oftentimes it's time, but it could just be like stuff in your life that's slowing you down. Okay. Stuff in your life that's slowing you down could be like, what could it be? It could be things like having a whole bunch of extra. I'm going to use an example from one of my clients. So, I got a text, and I love this text. I probably mentioned it on a podcast previously, but I got a text, and she said, I didn't start my workout this weekend, but what I did do was I got rid of boxes and boxes and boxes from my divorce, from my previous life, all the finances that I no longer need to hang on to, all the stuff that I no longer need to think about. I just got rid of all of that stuff. And I thought that was probably the most effective thing she could possibly do. Because if you think about it, when you clear away clutter like that, you've got space in your world to do anything you want to do. So think about that. Like, where's that clutter? Where's that clutter holding you back? And it could be time clutter. It could be people. I didn't say people clutter. It could be, all of those things that slow us down. So then the next piece is, you've heard me say it, but I'm going to say it again. You need to know what you want and why you want it. Okay. It's got to be yours. And by that, I mean, it can't be that you feel like you need to lose weight because somebody said something, or, you think you'll look better for, whatever. You'll look better for the wedding coming up, or those things. Like that's not a real want. A want is, why do I want to embark on this journey? What's in it for me? Not what's in it for everybody else, but what's in it for me? What's it going to do in my life? And why does that matter to me? I mean, my favorite example is my example. It's me. It's all about me. Sorry. My favorite example, though, is that my reason for doing all of this is that I want to be able to be as vibrant and as healthy and have as much fun and play and do all the things that I want to do for as long as I possibly can. And if I don't prioritize my fitness, and if I don't start and then stay on track, if I don't make fitness consistency part of what I do, then it's not going to happen. So what's your why, right? Like, why do you want this? And what do you want, right? Like, and it can be lots of things. It doesn't have to be like something high and mighty. Like, I have a client who said, I just want my arms to look great. Like, super. And why? She's like, because it'll make me feel damn good. Perfect. Why not? And I mean, she's in the 12-week accelerator program, which is the perfect thing for her, because 12 weeks, plenty of time to hit that goal and then look for the next one, right? Like, if you play it right, if you do it right. So your whys can be lofty, they can be long-term, they can be 3 months down, they can be anything you want. but it just has to be something that you want. And then the next thing you need to ask yourself is, what's holding you back? Okay. Because if you want this, if you've got this goal, if you've got this desire, you've got this want, you know you have it, but you haven't ever done it, or you haven't done it in a really long time, then I want you to think about what is holding you back. Okay? Because that's probably the piece that when we figure that one out, you're going to be able to move that to the side and everything else is going to get easier. There's always that thing. There's always that thing. And like all of these are that thing, but this one might be the most important one. What's holding you back? It could be a belief that work is way more important than your health, but you would never say it that way, right? The way you would say it is that work is, I have to work, and then I'll take care of myself. And the truth is that if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to work well. Or what's another one? So another thing that's holding people back could be caring for everyone else. That was my story for a long time. It was my story. If you've ever heard me talk about it, it took me ending up not being able to get out of bed one day to finally stop and say, you know what, Kelly, you're no different than anyone else. You have to take care of yourself. You can't get by on, little pieces of fitness here and there anymore, because you're not at the age that lets you get by on that. And you will not be able to take care of your mom or your family or your home or your business or anything else if you don't prioritize yourself. And that was my tipping point. That's what made me change everything I was doing. So what's holding you back? That's a really important question to ask yourself. And it's a question that you may have to come back to again and again. Okay. Different things stop us at different times in life. Okay. Maybe it's injuries, right? And if it's injuries, it's okay. All right. It's injuries are so often fixable, but we are taught that we just have to like stop, deer in the headlights. Oh no, what am I going to do? I'm injured. Forget that. There's things that we can do. And I've got tons of podcasts I've done on the past about that. And if you're part of the 12-week program, you actually get a membership to the Ready State, which I think is one of the best things online to help you with injuries, to help you fix injuries. Okay, so next one. What are you willing and unwilling to do? Okay, you have to know yourself. You have to know this about yourself. I want to use an example of one of my clients who's in the 12-week program, and she came on. We do a call together with her and our personal trainer and myself just to get, to do an onboarding. And she was super adamant. I am not going to count calories. I have been counting calories all my life and I'm sick and tired of it. I am not counting food. Great, right? All Stefan had to know was that was her deal. And knowing that, he was able to give her something else, another way of looking at things. So it's like, what are you willing and unwilling to do? For me, like one of my things that I'm unwilling to do is to give away my private time in the morning. Like I like to exercise in the morning, but before I exercise in the morning, I have time to myself. I have time to read and write and journal and all that stuff. That's a non-negotiable. It's just part of who I am, and it's part of who I've been for my very, very long time. And if it comes down to it, if it's an either or, journal or exercise, then I'm going to probably split it down the middle and do kind of a halfway on both, but it's a non-negotiable. So like, what are you willing to do? Excuse me. What are you unwilling to do? Those are unwillings. And then what are you willing to do? Like, that's a perfectly good question. So are you willing to work out or do cardio 3 days a week, 5 days a week, 1 day a week? Like, what are you willing to do? Because if someone says, you need to follow this plan, and this plan has you go into the gym 3 days a week, and it has you on the elliptical trainer 2 days a week, and it has you go into yoga 1 day a week, and then you need to go to Pilates 1 day. And that's the only way that you're going to get in shape. That's baloney, because if it's not exactly what you want to do, you're not going to do it. And I mean, we don't need to do things that we don't want to do, okay? So we just figure out, what are you willing to do? And make sure that it works with what you want, okay? And then once you know all of those things, you need to make a plan. And making that plan can be as simple as tossing in a little mobility, tossing in some cardio, and tossing in some resistance or strength training. Or it can be as big as like joining me, and we actually create, like, a true plan for you, like 12 weeks of let's do this thing right. But it really, like, I think that's the most effective way to do it. But just being willing to make a plan for a short period of time is going to get you so much further along, so much further along. So you want to know, what didn't work for you in the past, what you didn't like, what you didn't do, and why. Okay. Like, a lot of this comes back to everything that we've talked about, because if you put together, let's say that last year, beginning of the year, New Year's, you're going to lose weight. I don't know, let's just make something up. You're going to lose 15 pounds, you're going to get in shape, and you're going to fit into last year's jeans, and you're going to, I don't know, run a 5K. Let's say all those things were on your schedule. And so the question becomes, which ones of them happened? Did any of them happen? And if they didn't happen, why? Okay. And that is kind of like, goes back to the very thing that we started about with earlier on. It's like look at the things that stopped you before, what held you back, and how are we going to get rid of those and move forward? Okay. And when you make your plan, one more thing, like, we don't have time today to go into actually designing an actual plan for you. If you want to, jump on the show notes, and you'll find that I've got the one-on-one call that you can get on with me. If I've got space in my calendar, I'm happy to go over things with you. It's short, 15 minutes, but we can knock out a lot in 15 minutes. But the bottom line is that usually, if it hasn't worked in the past, okay, and this is kind of a broad brush stroke. If it hasn't worked in the past and you want to change something, then you're going to have to do something different. Okay. So really, it's not a broad brush stroke, it's the truth. Sorry. If you've wanted something in the past, you didn't get it, you're going to have to change what you did to get there. Really, bottom line. Okay. So you need a plan. Oftentimes when it comes to those plans, if they haven't worked in the past, then you need to get some help, like wherever. I mean, I'm happy to help. There's great coaches out there in the world. There's great online programs. I mean, there's good people all over the world helping women like us get what we want physically and emotionally and mentally and well. Okay. So let's go back to these really quick. This is getting back on track for the year. All right. First, you want to make room in your life for what it is that you want. That means decluttering emotionally, decluttering mentally, and decluttering physically. Okay. Make room, find space, make time. Then you want to know what you want and why. Why do you want it? Like, is it for you? Make sure it's for you and not for anyone else in the world. This is you. It's all about you right now, okay? Then you want to know what has held you back in the past, okay? You don't have to, this doesn't have to be an hour-long process. This usually, if you just ask yourself that question, boom, like first answer that comes to mind, you know what it is. And then you've got to know what you're willing and unwilling to do. That means physically, it means time-wise, it means emotionally, it means all of it. What are you willing and unwilling to do? And then make a plan. And that plan generally, when it comes to your fitness, includes something like some sort of mobility and stretching, some sort of cardio, some sort of resistance. There are so many different ways to make that plan. Okay. Like, that's what's cool about right now in the world. We have access to so much, and we have access to so many awesome people out there. So if you don't think that I'm your person, find someone else who's your person. But there's great people out there that are more than willing to, help you in any given way they can. And Our job is to just make sure that we're taking care of ourselves and we are not just having desires, that we're getting them, right? Like it's our time. It's our time to have, it's our time to shine. It's our time to get what we want. So make sure that you find whatever you need, whatever it looks like, because it looks different for everybody, whatever it looks like, you find that help and that support and that smart person out there that just happens to be really good at their one thing. And that one thing might be fitness, or it might be consistency, or it might be adventure, or maybe a couple of those things. But find that person and just do it. Let's make 2023 just solid and so much fun. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. And next week, we're going to talk about part 2, which is how to stay on track once you're there. So thank you again for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.